Hey, I'm Carmen Sanyovi from Top Flight Family, and welcome to this live video, which is all about how to take better photos on your next family vacation. So for those of you who are not familiar with my channel, Top Flight Family is all about luxury family travel. So me, my husband Serge, our daughters Sean and Ella really love to travel, and we'd like to do it in comfort and style most of the time, not always exclusively. But we're really passionate about inspiring other families to take their kids along when they travel. And you can check out our channel for some great travel vlogs. And I also do these weekly live videos where I share some practical travel tips as well. So in today's video, I am going to share some tips on how to get better vacation photos. So we are pretty big on Instagram. We're pretty active over there. You can check us out at Top Flight Family. So over the years, we figured out a thing or two about what types of travel photos work well and which ones don't work as well. So as kind of a travel Instagrammer, I am here to share some of the tips that we've figured out. And kind of package them in a way that would make sense for, non-bloggers, right? Just regular traveling families. So hopefully you're going to come away with a couple of tips that will be useful. So tip number one is think about coordinating outfits. So one of the big reasons that people's travel photos don't look as great as they could is because everyone is wearing things that really clash. So maybe, dad is wearing his neon golf shirt. The kid is wearing like a super bright colored Mickey Mouse shirt, and mom is in earth tones. And so, just the effect is sort of everyone seems all over the place. So one really easy way to get better family vacation photos is to just put a little bit of thought into what everybody's wearing. Now, when I say coordinating outfits, I don't necessarily mean that you guys have to go all out and purchase outfits specifically for this photo shoot. You don't have to all get matchy clothes. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is just doing something as simple as thinking about, well, is everybody kind of wearing clothes that are in the general same kind of color group? So for example, are we all wearing earth tones? So kind of beige, brown, plum, jewel tones. Like, are we all kind of in that kind of color group? Or are we all wearing neutrals like whites and grays and blacks and blues? Just simple things like that can really make a difference when it comes to family pictures. And so one thing that I will share that we like to do when we pack for a trip is I will actually, just to make it easier when we get to the destination, I tend to pack for all of us within kind of a similar color palette. So when we are traveling to warm destinations, most of the time, most of our clothes are going to be blues and whites with a little bit of other colors thrown in, but mainly blues and whites. And what I find is that when we get to the destination, it just makes it so much easier because everybody can just pick whatever they want to wear, but we'll all be more or less pretty coordinated. And so that's something to think about. So before you even leave for your trip, when you're kind of planning on your packing and planning on your outfits, just put a little bit of thought into, can we get it to a point where everybody's wearing more or less the same 2, 3, 4 colors, because that makes a tremendous difference in your family pictures. So that is tip number one, is think about coordinating your outfits a little bit. Okay. Now, tip number two, and you may be kind of laughing at this, like, okay, Carmen, we get it, you're a travel blogger. This is not what the typical family can do, but just bear with me, okay? Tip number two is hire a photographer. Now, again, before you get sort of skeptical, I know that not everybody travels for a living. Not everybody brings their own photographer with them when they travel like we often do. However, that doesn't mean that it's out of your reach to get someone professional to take great vacation photos for you. There are actually a lot of great sites out there. And I'm just going to name a few. Flytographer is probably one of the most well-known ones. There's another one called Localgrapher, so local and then grapher as in photographer. And there's also another site called Sweet Escape or Escapes. I'm not sure which it is, but you'll find it. So those are 3 sites that offer a network of photographers in a lot of destinations all around the world. So whether you're traveling to Bali or to Kenya, or you're going to Beijing, or you're going to Colorado, those sites can actually match you up with a photographer who's there locally who specializes in taking vacation photos and is going to be really skilled at recommending the best sites to shoot at in that destination. They'll be really experienced at kind of giving you direction of how to pose, or if you are looking for more candid shots, they'll be really experienced at getting those kind of fun, candid moments and capturing those moments. So that's a really great service to look into. And it's not that expensive. Most of these photography sites, you can choose how long of a photo shoot you do. So you can do like 30 minutes to 60 minutes to 90 minutes, depending on what your budget is and how much time you have to allocate to this. And so, it's if you do just a 30-minute shoot, it can be pretty affordable. And typically you will receive all of the digital images that have been edited so that you can post on social media. You can keep them forever. It's not like, old school days where they charge you per print and you got to buy a book and all this kind of stuff. Typically, these are going to give you all of the digital images so that you can keep them forever and do whatever you like with them. So hiring a photographer through one of these services is a really great way to get better quality pictures, and also a way to make sure that everybody is in the picture. Because if you guys are taking your own pictures, unless you're really, really handy with a tripod, usually one person's going to be missing, right? Whoever is holding the camera is not going to be in the picture. Or if you're relying on strangers to take pictures for you, that's not always the best thing because not everyone is super skilled. So tip number 2 is look into actually hiring a professional photographer, because it is worth it to have those memories to look back on. Okay, quick sip of water, and then we'll move on to tip number 3. Okay, so tip number 3 is don't all look at the camera all the time. There's probably a more succinct way to say that. But I think the biggest difference between most family vacation photos and the ones that you might see, in a magazine or on Instagram, the biggest difference is that most families take the majority of their photos where everybody's looking at the camera and smiling. Now, don't get me wrong, we take a lot of photos like that as well, and it is really nice to have sort of that classic family shot where everyone is smiling and looking into the camera. However, the key to getting better family vacation photos is to really mix it up. So you don't want to have every single photo just someone staring into the camera and smiling. You really want to be able to mix it up to also capture some more candid moments. So whether they are truly candid or whether they are plandid, as is a term that you may have heard, which is basically a planned candid photo. So it's a photo that looks like someone just shot it and it's candid, but really it was sort of planned out, and it was like, okay, you walk from this side to this side and I'm going to take your picture as you're walking, but you're not necessarily looking into the camera, so you seem like you're unaware. So it's really great to kind of mix up the types of shots that you get. So absolutely take some where everyone's smiling and looking into the camera, but also, keep your phone handy. And especially with kids, when we travel, our daughters they just love traveling because they love exploring and experiencing new things. And if you just kind of follow them and have your phone handy and just, snap away now and then, you're going to capture some really cool, candid moments of joy and discovery. And I think that those are often so much more evocative and emotional than just the straightforward looking at the camera type pictures. So you definitely want to get some true candid shots like that. And then you also, you might want to try out some planned shots where something just as simple as instead of everybody looking into the camera, everybody's looking at each other. Just a really simple change like that can make a big difference in terms of the feel of the photo. It feels less posed. It's more like you're all kind of connected with each other instead of everybody connecting to the camera. So that's tip number 3 is introduce some candid or planned shots and don't have every single photo just everyone looking at the camera and smiling. All right, let me see what's tip number 4. Oh, yes. So this is a great tip. So tip number 4 is try to mix in some photos where you're taking a photo from somebody's back. And if you have ever scrolled through travel photos on Instagram, you'll know the kind of photo I mean. So a lot of Instagrammers will post a photo of, let's say they are looking out onto a view and the photo is sort of them, this is the person, you see their back, and then this is the background. And the reason that those photos are so effective and that people love them so much is because it allows you to, as a viewer, to almost put yourself into that photo. And it makes you feel as if you're there, as opposed to, oh, Carmen is standing at this, I don't know, at the Grand Canyon. I can see that Carmen is having a good time there. Once Carmen, that's me, by the way, once Carmen's back is turned, now it suddenly becomes like, wow, I feel like I'm at the Grand Canyon. And so those types of pictures can be really a kind of experiencing what they're experiencing. So I'm just going to pull up, got my phone here. I'm just going to pull up a couple of examples. So this is an example of this is actually more like an outfit picture that I took just locally here in Brooklyn. But you can see it's, a picture of me from the back and up at this wall with really cool vines, and the wall's like a cool color. So that is an example. And we also have a lot of great examples from our Atlanta trip that we did recently, which if you haven't checked out that vlog, it's up on the channel now. So make sure you go check it out. Especially at the museum, we captured a few cool ones. Oh, okay. So here's an example. So this was us at the Center for Civil and Human Rights in Atlanta. And this is me and Ella basically looking at this really, really cool mural that's right at the entrance of the museum. And it's the kind of picture where you kind of feel like you're in it, as opposed to if we were turned around and looking at the camera and smiling, it would have a very different feel. So that's another type of photo that you want to mix in there, is take some pictures from the back so that people who are looking at the photo more feel like they're in the moment as well. All right, now tip number 5, this is my final tip. And this especially goes out to the moms out there. If you're in a typical mom, dad family, I found that most of the time mom becomes the photographer, or really any 2-parent families. Like there's usually one parent that ends up doing most of the photo taking and everybody else is in the picture. But then what happens is that parent who takes all of the photos isn't in any of the photos. So, so then you're not really creating complete memories because you were there too, right? It wasn't just your kids, it wasn't just your partner, you were there as well. So my tip, the last tip that I'm gonna leave with you is that you should make sure that you are in the photos as well. Now you're not gonna be in every single photo, that's fine. But every once in a while, hand the camera off to your partner, hand the camera off to one of your older kids who's, is able to use it without dropping it. And, have them take pictures of you or jump in to the group picture with the rest of your family, get a stranger to take a picture for you. But it's so important that as moms, we get into the picture as well, because a lot of these trips are because we did the planning, we organized the itinerary, we got everyone up on time, got everybody ready to go in the morning. And it's just such a shame if we forget that we forget to include ourselves in the images, because these are the family memories that we're going to cherish forever, sort of the visual memories that bring back those awesome times that we had as a family. So tip number 5 is make sure you get in the picture as well. All right, well, if you enjoyed this video, I hope that you will subscribe to our channel. I do these weekly live videos, usually about once a week. And then in addition to that, we also share a lot of vlogs from our previous trips that we've done. And if there's any topics that you'd like me to tackle in a future live video, just leave a comment below, and I would love to hear from you. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.